Hi, welcome back to our Science Read Aloud, Rocky Road Trip. Yesterday we read Chapter 3, and at the end of the chapters they were riding down into the canyon on the mules. There was a flash flood coming, and the park officer Marita said we have to get out of here now. So the magic school bus came and rescued them all, and that is where we've left off. So Chapter 4. What do we do? Ralphie shouted. There's no way we can fly out of here in this storm. I looked at Ms. Frizzle. She had to do something, and she did. She pointed her remote control at the magic school helicopter and pressed a red button. Seconds later, the copter magically turned into a huge yellow river raft. Climb into the raft, Marita screamed, trying to make herself heard over the roar of the rushing water, and put on your life jackets. We scrambled into that raft faster than the mules took off up Bright Angel Trail, and not a second too soon. The roar of the water coming down the canyon was getting louder and louder. Then in a flash, it shot around a bend of the canyon, straight at us. Hang on, Miss Frizzle called. Here it comes. 1 second, we were on the canyon ledge. The next second, we were zooming down the canyon on top of a crest of water. Awesome, I yelled. This is one grand ride. Our big yellow magic school raft bounced up and down on the rushing water. The colorful walls of the canyon flashed by us. Help, Arnold yelled. I got water up my nose. We're lucky we all don't have water up to our ears, Arnold, Marita said. Just hang on tight. We're coming to some big rapids. I was sitting at the front of the raft, so I was the first to see them. White water, I yelled. All right, now, here's our picture. It says, this is one rapid ride. All right. And then Riding the Rapids by Carlos. The rapids in the Grand Canyon are some of the most dangerous rapids in the world. A rapid is caused by a steep drop in a river's path that causes the water to run faster. When the water surges over rocks at this speed, it creates white water, a sure sign of danger. A minute later, we were in the rapids. Everybody screamed at the same time. It was a wild ride. Riding the rapids felt like riding a bucking bronco. I just had to make sure I didn't fall off. The magic school raft bobbed up and down through the rapids. I turned around to see how everyone was doing. Arnold was green. The rest of the kids had eyes the size of saucers and were screaming. But Ms. Frizzle had a huge grin on her face. Hey, Carlos, she yelled. How much fun is this? It's a whole raft of fun, I called back. Everyone stopped screaming just long enough to groan at my joke. Seriously, it was a rush. The flash flood carried us down the canyon. Finally, the river widened and the water became calmer. At the same time, the rain stopped and the sun came out. Whew, glad that's over, Marita said. I checked the weather report before we left, and it didn't say anything about a storm. Usually you get a little warning. It was a good thing we had our magic school raft, Phoebe said. I just wish we had a magic school kitchen. I'm starving. This magic school raft isn't magic for nothing, Ms. Frizzle said, opening a cooler strapped to the side of the raft. Peanut butter sandwiches coming up. Peanut butter had never tasted so good. While we ate, Marita explained how the Colorado River created the Grand Canyon. It all started about 65 million years ago, she said. Forces deep in the earth lifted up land to form the Colorado Plateau. Now, we remembered from landforms a plateau has steep sides straight up and the top is flat. So if you could climb up the sides with ropes, you could walk flat on the top of it. That's a plateau. I know what a plateau is, Phoebe said. I wrote my report on it. And, well, now we can hear a plateau from Phoebe. A plateau is an area of land that is flat on top and higher than the land around it. The word plateau comes from a French word meaning little plate. But plateaus can be pretty big. The Colorado Plateau is 130,000 square miles. For millions of years after the plateau was formed, Marita went on, the Colorado River flowed across it, and that created a lot of water power. The river was so powerful, Ms. Frizzle continued, that it carved a deep canyon through the rock layers that make up the plateau. And over time, Marita said, it formed the Grand Canyon. But how do you really know that the two sides of the canyon were ever together? D.A. asked. Maybe they were always separate. All right, now we need to read Water Power from Ms. Frizzle. can water be so powerful? Gravity pulls water downhill towards sea level. As a river flows over sedimentary rock, bits of dirt, rock, and sand break off. The river carries the debris downstream, and the debris grind down the rock it travels over. This process is called erosion. That's how the Colorado River carved out the Grand Canyon. But erosion is slow. The process took millions of years. Geologists have found proof that they were once together, Marita explained, and the proof is in the stone. If you look at one side of the canyon and then the other side, the layers match exactly. Cool, I said. Rockhounds are really smart. You sound like a rockhound yourself, Carlos, Marita said. I suddenly remembered my Bright Angel rock. I hoped I hadn't lost it in the rapids. I felt around in my pocket and pulled it out. This is part of my rock collection, I said proudly. It belonged to my grandfather, and it's the reason we came out here. My mom always called it the Bright Angel Rock. So that's why you wanted to go down the Bright Angel Trail, Marita said with a smile. But there's no rock like that in the Grand Canyon. If there were, all the tourists would be digging for it. What do you mean? I asked. To find your rock, we have to visit a mine, and I think I know just the place. My ancestors worked there, and it has a special name. What's it called? I asked, beginning to get excited. The Bright Angel Mine, Marita said. And that is where we'll stop today. So perhaps next time we will finally find out where this special rock came from. All right. Have a great weekend. I'll see you all back on Monday.